What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the video, and today we have a video from Screen Rant, and they have a video called Obi-Wan Kenobi 15 Things You Missed from Episode 1 and 2. So I'm going to be checking this out. I'm going to be seeing if I've noticed these things or if I didn't notice these things. And if you noticed anything that they don't mention in this video, let me know in the comments below and maybe we'll do a video on that. But with that said, let's just jump in right away.
Let's go! Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 1 opens with a flashback to the Jedi Temple Massacre from Revenge of the Sith.
That was a cool scene.
We can see a previously unseen Jedi called Minas Velti, where she teaches her final lesson, if you will, while protecting a class of younglings from the clone trooper onslaught. What is interesting about this scene is that we can hear Palpatine's Order 66 commands echoing in the background. Just in case someone needs a refresher, Order 66 was a secret order identifying all Jedi as traitors and subject to execution. Good lord! Sticking with that same class of children, the bulky helmets worn by Obi-Wan Kenobi's younglings in the flashback were previously seen during Yoda's lightsaber training session in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. God, those helmets are big. Those helmets have the same goofy look as Malcolm's dad and Malcolm in the Middle when he joins the speedwalking group. Look at that! As we find out, Leia has a wonderful habit of running off. This time, she runs off to the forest, and when her father retrieves her, Bria Organa tells Leia, quote, "If you behaved as well as you climbed, you'd be a senator already." This cheeky line foreshadows Leia's future in the original and sequel trilogies, when she is officially known as Senator Organa, or maybe it means nothing. I don't know, man. Let me know in the comments if I'm reading too deeply into this like an English teacher.
I think it's
fine.
fine.
A little side note
it's
for
okay.
you. During the bar scenes, was anyone paying close attention to the drinks they were serving? I'm trying to find some blue milk. That stuff just looks fantastic. John Williams' Force theme debuted in A New Hope and evolved into one of the most famous compositions in Star Wars history. Wait, what the hell am I saying? In movie history, for God's sakes. Anywho, a version of the Force theme is used throughout Obi-Wan Episode 1, but it's a slower, slightly altered rendition, and that plays when our beautiful Ewan McGregor appears.
I did hear that.
A more familiar version of the song plays towards the end when Obi-Wan rediscovers his heroism. Obi-Wan Kenobi
I didn't think about
funny,
it, but I actually
apparently.
did hear that.
The
That's pretty
Jedi's
cool.
Jawa friend, Tika, says, quote, "I could smell you from Anchorhead." This Tatooine outpost town was first mentioned by Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. Tika also mentions the Dune Sea, mostly known for harboring
Wait, hold on.
Jabba the Hutt's Sarlacc.
Hold on 1 second, guys. Did you see this? Do you guys remember in Battlefront? I thought it was Mos Eisley that had it, but there's like a crashed ship in the sand, like right in front of the arena thingy. If you guys remember the original Battlefront, I think the original Battlefront had it in there, but definitely Battlefront 2, 2005. It had like a crashed ship, so I think that's an interesting callback. I think it's a crash ship. Why do I remember it being a crashed ship? I don't remember. It's just one of those things where like, that's pretty dope that they actually, took that from that. That's cool. I like that.
By Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. Tika also mentions the Dune Sea, mostly known for harboring Jabba the Hutt's Sarlacc pit. I gotta say, the Sarlacc pit probably smells so bad. Can you imagine how bad Jabba actually smells? Get that guy some body spray, for God's sakes. We got another nice short and easy one for you. This one happens kind of fast, so pay attention. Obi-Wan purchases a starship toy from Tika, the light-fingered Jawa, clearly intended as a gift for Luke Skywalker. This is the very same spacecraft toy Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker plays with at the beginning of A New Hope. Good lord. Predictably, there are plenty of Obi-Wan Kenobi Easter eggs scattered in the form of familiar alien species and droids. Part 1 includes plenty of Jawas and red-colored R2 units on Tatooine, and Kenobi himself rides an EOP, first seen in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. A Scurrier appears as Obi-Wan crosses the desert. Then Bria Organa pairs her daughter to a Glorag, a creature from Star Wars' Legends canon. Later in the episode, Leia thanks a silver protocol droid called Yo, probably C-3PO, while her father remembers chasing Purgil, a hyperspace creature from Star Wars Rebels. The feisty young Leia also said she'd rather be digested by a Jacko beast, first included in the Dawn of Rebellion sourcebook, then apologized to her obnoxious cousin. And the green pirate who helps kidnap her appears to be a Falleen. Bonus, baby! Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers is here, man! How awesome is that? When he's not slapping some bass for the spicy band, he's been seen in Back to the Future, The Big Lebowski, and now here kidnapping princesses for the Empire, man! He's always playing bad guys. Flea, what are you doing, man?
Flea.
Alrighty, episode...
You know what's funny about Flea? He looked familiar, and I was like, where's this guy from? And I was talking to Alex on my messaging app because we were talking about doing a podcast together, and he brought up, he's like, yeah, Flea's in this episode. I'm like, Flea? Why does that sound familiar? He's like, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm like, oh, that's right. So that's a pretty cool little reference that a lot of younger people are not going to get. Even I'm like not, I wouldn't consider myself young really anymore. I'm not exactly old, you know. I'm still, you know, a young strapping lad. You know what I mean? But that was one of those things where like this guy looks familiar, but I don't know where it's from. But then when I had the name Flea, it popped back in my brain. So that's pretty cool.
One down, man. Let's switch our gears to episode 2 and see what we can uncover. I feel like an investigative journalist, except I'm on my couch in my pajamas. The bulk of Obi-Wan episode 2 is set on the planet Daiyu, a world that hasn't been seen before, but unsurprisingly, it's jam-packed with references. When Obi-Wan first arrives on Daiyu, he discovers a veteran clone trooper begging for credits.
This was a cool moment.
It's pretty easy
I actually
to miss,
really like
but
this.
the clone trooper appears to be wearing the armor of the 501st.
Yep.
The battalion led by Anakin Skywalker during the Clone Wars. The clone trooper is, of course, played by Temuera Morrison, the actor who played Jango Fett in the prequel trilogies, and who has played Boba Fett in various Disney Plus shows. Obi-Wan encounters a man named Haja, who's pretending to be a Jedi,
I'm surprised
using
they
tricks
brought him
involving magnets and
into this.
remotes. This idea is lifted from the old expanded universe, where a con man used the same tactics. Han Solo may well have good reason to believe the Force is just trickery in the first Star Wars film, if he's encountered men like Haja. In a rather more direct Han
That's a
Solo
good point.
reference,
That's a good point. I'll give
Haja
Screen Rant
sends
that
a
one.
mother and her
That's a
son
good
to
point.
Han's world Corellia for sanctuary. The dialogue here is particularly interesting, foreshadowing Haja's proving to be a better man than Obi-Wan thinks. Haja implies the boy is Force sensitive, and he's helping him get away from Daiyu before he's found out. This is actually a high-risk project, given the Empire had standing bounties on Force sensitives, with Darth Vader's Inquisitors combing the galaxy looking for even children. This one made me chuckle a bit. Obi-Wan initially attempts to avoid detection as a Jedi by using a blaster instead of a lightsaber. There's a great deal of irony in these firefights, given he considered blasters to be so uncivilized. But of course, he no longer lives in a time he would call civilized. It makes sense. He can't just pull out a lightsaber in a crowded planet that's tracking him down.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, you're doing just fine. There are a lot of small details that are kind of brushed over that are pretty important to point out. One of them being the Inquisitors knows Darth Vader's true identity. The Empire kept Darth Vader's true identity a secret during the Dark Times, largely because Palpatine enjoyed the sense of mystery and intrigue that surrounded his apprentice. For all that's the case, though, Reva reveals the Inquisitors know Anakin Skywalker is really Darth Vader when she calls out to Obi-Wan while he's hiding nearby. Reva uses a familiar Force power on Haja, the Dark Side Mind Probe. It's a powerful ability of the Force that allows the user to sense or even sift through thoughts, emotions, and memories of the victim to seek useful information. The comics have established
That was a pretty
it's an
interesting
easy
thing.
technique for former Jedi to pick up because it's related to the Jedi mind trick, although of course it is far more invasive. I love that Obi-Wan, a man with a cool name, chooses the name Ben as his new name. Like, dude, that's lame. If a plain ham sandwich was a name, it would be Ben. Sorry, Ben. Anyways, back to the show. Leia Organa is less impressed by her rescuer and initially refuses to believe he's really a Jedi, especially when Obi-Wan introduces himself as Ben. That is the name he had taken up during the Dark Times, one initially given to him when he was just a Padawan, by Duchess Satine of Mandalore. It makes perfect sense for Obi-Wan to call himself Ben at this point in time. but also avoids a continuity problem because it explains why Leia doesn't know the name Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first Star Wars film. This may well be Leia's first hint for her father being more than just a senator. One of them being the Inquisitors believes Obi-Wan is the last ember of the Jedi. The Inquisitors believe Obi-Wan is a particularly important target. No ordinary Jedi, the last ember of a dying flame. The dialogue is curious, suggesting they consider Obi-Wan to be the last surviving member of the Jedi Council. Comics have already established that the Empire believed Master Yoda died of old age. For my final entry, I was going to talk about how Darth Vader ends episode 2, but this one is way more fun. Here we go. What is with Star Wars and losing limbs? That poor lady got her hand chopped off by Reva, and it comes out of nowhere. Good lord, I jumped off the couch when it happened. Poor lady was just standing there minding her own business. Come to find out.
Oh, you know what? Before we continue, that's right. That was kind of an odd scene. Because they cut off her hand and she goes, ah, and they cut back to like her just walking around, and then the woman's not there anymore, and there's no noises. Like no one's even reacting. Like someone didn't just get their hand cut off. It's just, that could have probably been directed a little bit better, that scene. The rest of the episode's fine, but like that scene was definitely one of those, that was weird. Like they added that in on like reshoots or something like that.
Common theme around here. Anakin loses an arm, Luke loses a hand, Grievous loses a hand, Count Dooku loses both hands, and the list goes on and on. If you ever find yourself in a Star Wars project, for the love of God, please keep your hands inside your pockets at all times. There are probably hundreds of Easter eggs and references that people will continue to discover, but there were a lot that we didn't discuss. But you're well versed in the Star Wars lore. I don't have to explain it to you. You already know, man.
Okay, so I knew most of these, but there were some that actually were like things that like surprised me, or things I knew that I didn't think about much of. So yeah, pretty good video, Screen Rant. Keep it up. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like this, please consider leaving me like suggestions in the comments below. If you find any videos where you want to hear my opinion on, or see me react to or whatever, let me know. Comments below. Please consider leaving a like, subscribe, turn notifications. I'd really appreciate it. I'm trying to get back on the algorithm, so if you guys could do that, I'd love you forever. But thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.